We've started recording now, and it's going to record directly, you know, and see how we can get it on YouTube ASAP. All right. So our facilitator today, his name is Gideon Agbeniga. You see, sometimes if I were to read Gideon's bio or his profile, I don't think it will not hit the right. It will. There's a way it will not satisfy me the way I would really like to introduce Gideon. Now, if any one of you have heard about The Outpouring by Dunsin Oyekon, The Outpouring, this Gideon, the person that's going to be handling today and Thursday, is one of the pivotal members of designing that brand, The Outpouring. Literally coming up with logo, designs, every design that you have been seeing in France, in the UK, in Nigeria, coordinating everything brand and marketing has been, driven by our brother. He's been part of the team that's driving that. All right. So if I were to use common language, he knows small. The guy is not small. When they talk of building international brands from the scratch, he is your guy. And God has brought him today, to talk to us about branding our business. Now that your business model canvas is intact, we have seen that out of the 25 to 30 of you, at least 20 of you, your business idea is rock solid. And I'm happy about that. So it's time for you to now listen to how you are going to build your brand so that people can start to know you the way you know MTN, the way you know Zenith Bank, the way you know Paystack, the way you know, let me say a small, an upcoming company, the way you know Erisco Foods, the way you know Blanco, Jendor. Is somebody that built those brands that made it known to everybody. We want your brands to be known. And that's why we have brought Gideon to handhold us from the scratch all the way to when people put your logo, people can say, oh, I know that brand. And that will be our portion in Jesus' name. So before I will yield the floor to Gideon, let's just pray. The school is sponsored by the Victory Sanctuary Seventh Adventist Church, and we believe in Jesus. So we will always start our sessions with a prayer. Dear Lord, we thank you so much for bringing us to the fourth week of our, of our school. We have learned a lot. Testimonies from the students here have said, man, this is a real training school, and we are happy about that because businesses, big billionaire businesses will be born here. Lord, we thank you for these ones. As they listen, may nothing distract them. As they open their brains, give them revelation, insight, and knowledge. Help them to learn the tenets with which they will build brands that will glorify your name. Thank you, Father, because we know you've done it. For in Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. All right. Over to you, Gideon. Over to you. Gideon, in case you are speaking, I think your microphone is.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I think I should just show my face for a few minutes, for a few seconds before I turn off my video and start my presentation, so that everyone can put a face to the person that is speaking. Try to do that. Okay, can you see me? I'm just going to just to say hi and put a face to the person that listening to. Can you all see me? Okay, great. All right. Yes. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to turn off my video now so that we can save data, and the streaming experience is going to be great. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Terry, our Professor Mr. Terry, for the introduction. Thank you, the Joseph School of Entrepreneurship team and Victory Sanctuary for the privilege to be able to do this. I do not take it for granted. And I believe by God's grace that this is going to be a session that everyone here that has joined would not regret. You would enjoy. Going to be a fruitful one. Please, if you know your friend or anyone that's supposed to be here that is not here at the moment, I would encourage you to please reach out to them. Please reach out to them. And I say this because I have 2 hours to take this session, and a lot of what I will be talking about in this session, it's something that would help you, whether as an individual or as a company. If you run a company of your own, or you have a company that you're about to start, this is going to help you a lot. And I'm saying this from the little credibility of track record that I have of corporate organizations, brands, and whatnot, that I've had to handle brand strategy sessions for them. So this is going to be this session is going to be in 2 parts, talking about what brand strategy is about, and then translating that to the visual aspect of things, how that is supposed to look like visually. And then on Thursday, we now start to look at some practical application of how you can design, how you can put all the things that we discussed today to life. So please, I will need everyone to pay attention. I need you to pay attention, because if you are not paying attention in this session, there's a lot that you miss. I know it is being recorded and all, and you'll get the recording after, but please pay attention, and I pray that you will enjoy it. Okay, so please confirm you can see my screen, first of all. Let me make sure that it's
We can see. There you are.
Yes, we can see your screen.
awesome. Beautiful. All right, so we're talking about brand building, how to communicate your brand visually, and I'm going to start with what exactly brand identity design is about. So brand identity, we see logos, we hear of all those things, and what exactly does it mean? How do you connect with it, right? And I want you all to, I would need you to, for questions that I ask, please respond on the chat, because I'm also looking at the chat as well as we're talking. So I would need, it's going to be very interactive. It's going to be very, very interactive. So there are practicals that we will do during this session. So when you see these brands, so you can see Nike, Apple, Coca-Cola, what do you feel like? What comes to your mind when you see these brands, right? And I want you to just put that on the chat. What comes to your mind when you see Apple logo and Apple products or Nike? What is it? What comes to your mind? I want you to please chat. I don't want you to be silent. You don't need to unmute. You can just write this in the comment section. Okay, I'm seeing logo of the brand. Okay, well, like, I want you to talk about the emotional feeling. Like, what kind of emotions do you feel when you see these brands? Let me give you a bit of context. If I give you an iPhone 16 Pro Max, for example, how would you feel? Or if I get you a Nike Air sneakers, what would you? Okay, I'm seeing luxury. Apple is giving a luxury, exotic, beautiful. I'm saying, okay, that's great. And the reason why I'm asking this question is the fact that you already have a term that you can connect with these brands, luxury and also brand beautiful. The fact that you can connect with this brand, I'm seeing durability for Coca-Cola, quality for Nike, luxury for Apple. Yes. The fact that you have emotions or words that you can use to connect to this brand says something. And that what that says is that they've been able to intentionally do something to you from their brand that can help you connect with it. So the fact that you can think of luxury from an Apple brand and from just looking at the logo or using their products means that there was an intentional structure or system that was put in place to make that work. Just looking at the logo on its own, yes, you see, Apple is giving class. That is also another good thing. The fact that you're seeing the logo on its own, if you've never interacted with it before, you don't know anything about it, you cannot say it is giving luxury just from looking at it. Because this is just a white logo that is that looks like an apple, or just the swoosh Nike icon. It's on its own. If you've never used it or you've never heard of it before, these are not the words that will probably come to your mind. You just say, okay, maybe it looks like for the Nike one, you probably say maybe they are marking a script. For the Apple one, you just probably say maybe someone beats something or something. But it doesn't speak. But because you've interacted with the brand, you've seen how the brand has presented itself, you are able to put a feeling to it. So what is brand identity? Right? We've seen all of this. And there's so many things that makes up a brand identity, and we will define each of these things as we move on. There is what we call an anatomy of the brand, just the same way you have anatomy of the human body, right? Anatomy of the brand consists of like the vision, so basically what you believe, what your mission is, what your value is, your core values, your mission, vision, will define all of those things, right? There is the voice of your brand. What's the voice of your brand? Voice of your brand, basically how you communicate. What is your tone? What is the style? What's the message? Are you playful? Are you serious? Are you calm? Are you very loud? What is that voice? What's that communication message that your brand has? Then values. The values are like, okay, what exactly are you proposing? What exactly, why do you exist as a brand? Who are the people that you are targeting? What are your target audience? What exactly does your brand entail? That is what value proposition and values, that is all under your values. And then for visual identity, these are basically the artifacts that reflect everything about your brand. So your logo, your colors, your font, images, those are what falls under visual identity. Now I want you to just stay with me because I know this might sound very like technical and whatnot, but we would get to understand it as we move on. So there is this. You have logos, colors, fonts, images, tone, all this under visual identity. These are part of what makes up a brand. Your brand is the way people feel when they see you. We looked at Apple, we looked at Coca-Cola, we looked at Nike, and we mentioned how they feel and how we feel about those brands. That is basically what branding is. Brand identity is the visual and emotional expression of your brand. If someone is not able to talk about how they feel about, if they cannot get an emotional connection or a visual expression of what your brand is, then there is no proper identity that has been created around it. So your brand is the way people feel when they see you. And there's so many things that entails what branding is about. So you have things like brand architecture, brand essence, brand voice, all of these things we will look at it. So visual, I just want you to understand, look at this three concentric circles. You have the logo, which is the most visible of all. Your logo is like the physical appearance of what people would most likely engage with or see every single time. So look at your brand, your logo as what represents your company when you are not in the room. That is basically like what your logo is about. While the visual identity are all the touch points that are visible about your brand. So the patterns that you use in your company, the icons, the images, the font, all of these things are under what you call visual identity. Then the branding as a whole, this is where you define who you are as a company, what you do, your mission, your vision, the brand purpose, brand architecture, all of these things. This is what the entirety of your branding is about. So it starts with the branding, which is the core. Then you move to the visual identity, which is the expressions of all these things that are within the branding. And then you have the logo, which is like the salesman of your brand, the what represents it from a visual point of view. Now, understanding brand strategy. Everything that I've just mentioned, you need to be able to make sense of it properly. The first thing I always do when a client comes to me, or they want to do a full branding or whatnot, I tell them, yes, but we'll need to have, some call it a brand discovery session. I call it a brand strategy session. We need to have a brand strategy session. The purpose of a brand strategy session is, okay, we'll see that as we move. What exactly does strategy mean? What exactly does brand strategy means? Strategy is basically creating definition. It's that simple. If you are trying to do anything in this life, you are trying to give definition to something, you need to have a strategy for it. Strategy is basically what creates definition for you. So if you decide right now, okay, I want to host a conference, I want to do this and that, you need a strategy for it to be able to properly define how that thing is going to look like. The same thing too with branding, right? Now, remember I said this is strategy I'm talking about, not brand strategy. Strategy is basically creating definition. Now, what is brand strategy? I want you to note that brand strategy is different from marketing strategy. Brand strategy is different from corporate, this is HR strategy. You do strategy for different aspects of your company. What we are focusing on right now is basically for branding. branding. There's strategy for law and for legal. There's legal strategy. There's corporate strategy. There's so many aspects of strategy. Remember, I said strategy is basically defining, creating a definition. Now we are trying to create definition for the brand as a whole. Brand strategy basically means you defining what you stand for as a company. So let's assume we've talked about Apple, right? So what does Apple stand for as a brand? We need to define it in the strategy session. What is the promise that Apple makes to their customer? It needs to be defined in that strategy session. How the brand conveys what they stand for and the promise, that is the brand personality. Your personality is what defines how you convey everything about your brand to people. So brand strategy means what you stand for, the promise that your brand makes, and the personality that your brand conveys. Now, this thing that I've just mentioned, you can actually apply it to yourself as an individual. And what I mean by that is, ask yourself, what do you stand for as a person? What is the promise that you are making to people in general, like for whatever it is that you do? And then what is the personality that you portray as a person? What that means is, when I do brand strategy sessions or have sessions with clients, I want you to see how you can connect with this, even personally, as a person. I don't know if you're familiar with personality types, being introverted, extroverted, being choleric, melancholy, all of those things. Those are being able to exactly you defining your trying to see where you fit in. We also have the same thing too for brand strategy. Even Jesus Christ is as a person is a brand. We know other brands, people that are also popular brands. Lai Wasabi, we know Lai Wasabi as a person. If you have to define what it stands for, you can probably say, this is what Lai Wasabi stands for, or maybe Mr. Macaroni, or some of these your popular influencers. And that is because they've been able to properly create a brand around this. A successful brand, you will be able to see what they stand for, the promise that they make, and the personality that they are conveying. If any successful brand that you see, they need to have those three things. And all of these things are defined when you actually sit down and have a strategy session to define your brand. So look at it like this. Brand strategy is like sunglasses. When you wear sunglasses, everything around you is one color, is the color of that sunglasses. That is basically what brand strategy is about. It colors everything that your brand delivers. So you can see that there's consistency. And it's not just from how it looks, even in the company. You'll notice maybe you enter a bank, there's a way they say, okay, let me use Chicken Republic as an example, the popular restaurant that we own. You enter Chicken Republic on the restaurants on the island, you hear nice. You enter Chicken Republic on the mainland, it's the same nice you're hearing. They're like, how come they're all saying the same thing? They speak the same language. The way they behave, it is the same thing. And that is because they've been able to create a proper brand strategy around it. That is because they've been able to do that. And that is what it, so just like I said, like a sunglasses, when you wear it, everything is the same. There is consistency. It doesn't mean that the items are the same. It just means that everything follows a particular look and feel. And that is what this strategy is going to look like. And I'm going to ask you this question. I want you to reflect on this properly. If you were to explain your company to a stranger, what would you say? If you were to explain what you do or yourself as a person to a stranger, what is it that you're going to say? And I want you to look at it or think about this from these 4 different questions. Why does your company exist, or why do you exist? And I say, why do you or your company exist? Because some of us might want to be influencers, or we are here because we want to actually work on our own brand, like as an individual. We want to have a brand of our own. So and I say a brand of our own, you see the likes of what can I use as Davido. Let's use Davido as an example. Davido is a musician, yes, but you will not see Davido as a company. He's an influencer, but he has his own brand. Some of us might also have our own brand that we want to also work on. And you need to have this, understand or answer these questions. Why do you exist? What customer pain points do you want to solve? So if you understand the people you're trying to target, what exactly are you trying to, what's the problem you're trying to solve? Now, what do you want to be known for in the next 5 years? I want you to think. I know you might not be able to answer all these questions now, but these are guiding questions I want you to reflect on and think about. And then the last one is, what values must guide you always? The reason why you need to have this is so that you can stay on track. You can be very focused on being able to achieve or solve or even get to this existence that you're trying to build. If you do not have core values, you will get lost in whatever it is that you are doing. So these are the guiding questions you need to ask yourself. Now, what isn't a brand strategy? Brand strategy is not your logo. Logo is not brand strategy. So if you say you have a logo, that doesn't mean you've done a brand strategy. If you say you have like a slogan or a tagline, that doesn't mean you have a strategy. Color palette, no, those are not brand strategies. Those are not strategies. Those are just artifacts that represent the strategy that you've created. So there are people that will do all of these things and they've not done strategy. And then what now happens is that when they are now trying to make sense or trying to put things out, everything just looks everywhere. But when you have a proper strategy done, a proper brand strategy done, when you put everything together, there is this cohesiveness, there is this unity that everything comes in. It's like, there is a way these people do their thing that everything looks the same. And that is what it is. The Apple that we've all mentioned, most of us have mentioned that we've talked about right now. Why do you think almost all Apple products look at a particular way? Have a particular look. I mean, if you look at the edges, the curve, the edge of every Apple product, the radius of that edge, it is the same when you place all their products together. That is how intentional they are with their products. That is how intentional they are with whatever it is that they are doing. And that intentionality only comes when you actually sit down and say, okay, we want to do a strategy on how our brand should look like, everything that comes out of it. So that is what brand strategy is. This is what brand strategy isn't. Now, based on this thing that I've mentioned, how do you now define your brand? Right? We've been able to understand what brand strategy is. How do we now reflect it on ourselves? Like how do we translate it to whatever it is that we have? The first question you need to ask yourself is, what legacy does your brand want to leave in the industry that you are in? And what I mean by that is, I know most times when you ask people, okay, why do you exist or what exactly do you want, they'll tell you they want to make money. See, beyond just financial metrics, beyond just being the richest company in the world, there should be a legacy that your brand wants to leave. You need to sit down and actually think about it. I'm not saying that money is not something to aim for. Yes, you can do that, but that should not be the reason why your company exists. It should not be the only reason. If not, the nature of what you will be doing as an embassy is just going to be mechanical. People would not be able to connect with your brand. Your brand would not have a soul. It will not have a soul. It will just be like people are interacting with robots. There is no there's no emotional connection to it. So ask yourself, what legacy does your brand want to leave in the industry? There is this framework that I always use in my sessions with my clients, and it's called the Golden Circle Framework. It was created by Simon Sinek. And this framework, helps you to define the why behind your existence, the why of whatever it is that you are doing. And when you are doing this, when you are answering these questions, you can answer these questions for yourself. You can also answer these questions for your company. Sorry about that. So you can answer these questions for yourself. You can answer these questions for your company. And it's these three questions. Why, which is what we've been talking about. Why do you exist? Very few organizations know why they do what they do. Why is not about making money. That is a result. You making money is a result of why you exist. It is not the purpose. The why is the purpose. It's the cause, it's the belief, it's the very reason that your organization exists. Some company is the reason why they exist is to be able to save, is to be able to help so and so number of people come out of poverty. is to be able to create technological products that will revolutionize that definition of why you exist is very is a critical foundation for whatever it is that you are building. Why? Then the next one is how. Some organizations, they know how they do what they do. So imagine, let's say someone that knows how to maybe build a product or knows how to build a tech, and they know how to do it, but the problem they might have is they don't know why they are doing what they are doing. Now, it is good to know how you do what you do. So basically, your how is what sets you apart. It's like your unique selling points. It is what makes you special. It is what sets you apart from your competition. Apple, that we've been talking about as a reference, right? And just permit me to use Apple since that's a brand that we are all familiar with. What is, you will look at the how of what they do, of what they do, you will notice that there is something consistent with their brand. It is the level of excellence and quality that they put in place. So quality, excellence, luxury. There is no, when you place an Apple product and another product, even without using it, you can tell that this is an Apple product. You can tell this is a Samsung or this is a different product, because there is this level of intentionality they put with either using their product or even the way the product looks. That is their own how, what sets them apart. Then the what part, every organization on the planet needs to know what they do. You need to know what exactly it is that you are doing. The why is why you exist. The how is how you are doing what it is that you are doing. And then the what is either the product that you are selling, the service that you are into. So for example, let's use, can someone just drop maybe the name of their company and just in one word, just say what your company is about. Let's try and do like a what, how, and why for you. So just someone should just drop. Let's see the first person that would drop their company, and let's use that as an example. Can you all still hear me? I hope I'm still very audible and clear. Just want to be sure that I'm not.
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay, great. All right. So someone should just drop your company name and what you do, just in one line. Okay. Defeat Railboat Ventures Supermarket. Okay, great. Now, let's use Defeat as an example for this golden circle. Why does Defeat exist? So let's say Defeat exists to be able to provide goods, food stuff, and what do we call materials. Let's just put those three things in brackets. For people, that is why you are doing. That's why you open the supermarket. What exactly do you sell? You list out the things that you sell. You sell snacks. You sell food stuff. You sell electronics. Those are the things that you sell. Now, how do you do what you do that makes your own supermarket different? You could say one of the things that you do is that when a client comes in, the way your relationship is with the client is for every customer that comes in. Hello, is someone saying something? Okay. So the how, or what makes your own difference, is that for every customer that comes in, you make sure that they don't leave without getting a bonus or something. Like that is something that is very unique to how you run your own supermarket. Like every time you leave, you get maybe a discount card, or the customer, there's a follow-up that you always do, or maybe something that you do differently from every other supermarket that exists, is that for every time you have a new product, or for every time there is something new that you stock in your supermarket, you are able to let them know. Or maybe how you do your own supermarket running is that your supermarket is online. You have an application, a mobile app that people can actually order on it. Like you can see that we've been able to do those you need to be able to do that clear differentiation of why you exist, how you do what you do, and what exactly it is that you do. I need to, okay. So what does your brand do? How does your brand do what it does? And then why does your brand exist? So why does your brand exist, which is the core, is the purpose of why you exist. How does your brand do this purpose that we've mentioned? That's basically the process. What is that thing that differentiates you? And then what does your brand do? Basically the services and offering that you offer. If you don't answer these three questions, everything that you are doing will just be scattered. Like there's not going there won't be a proper sense of direction. You might not even be able to in terms of like long-term goal, or in terms of like vision, you might not be able to put that well, because you can't define what your brand does or how your brand is supposed to do what it does. So once you sit down, you can even speak to people around. Okay, you notice this. How do you think I can do what my brand does that makes me different from other people? There are questions like this that you ask, and we'll get there. We'll get to that point when we start to discuss some of these brands that you've not seen on your business canvas. Please just drop, and just make sure that you are taking note of all of these things. Please make sure you are taking note of it, so that once we are done with this session, because there's going to be exercise that we'll have to do and we'll submit, and the exercises is defining all of this that we've mentioned. So you would have to do the golden circle framework for your brand and submit. It is one of the assignments that you are going to be given. Now, discovering your why purpose, which is what we have been, I've been talking about. These three golden circle framework that I've mentioned. Some people might still struggle to answer these questions. The why. Why do you exist? Why does your brand exist? There are three questions that I want you to look at. The first question is, what exactly is it that inspired you to start the company? Or if you're saying, okay, I want to brand myself, ask yourself, what exactly is the reason for your existence? Why did God create you? Or why did you come to this earth? Like, what exactly do you think is the reason why? Or you say, okay, what exactly is it that makes you unique as a person? And the next question you now ask is, what impact do you want to leave? See, one of the greatest things that you can do, either you're building a brand or you are a brand as a person, is leaving a legacy, leaving an impact that would outlive you. That even when you are not there, it can still be sustainable. It can still, and as you see some of these brands, look at the likes of Unilever, you see some brands that even the founders, they are long gone. The founder of Coca-Cola is dead long time ago, but yet that brand is able to, is still very strong. So you need to ask, what impact do you want to have on your clients and the industry? When Coca-Cola started not because they just wanted to be selling drinks for people. It was because it was during the World War, I think World War II or something. And it was the way they made the drink. It was just to help the soldiers. There was a why. There was a reason why, and you can see how that has expanded to what we have right now. And you even see that the intentionality of the brand archetype, the brand representation, which we will discuss as we go on, is very intentional. It didn't just happen because they just wanted to do something. There has to be a why, which is the core, and that is what now helps you with all the expressions that you are going to be putting out. So think of it as you like unearthing, like moving the roots of a tree to understand how that tree exists. So it's like you have a tree that is buried. You want to see how this tree actually got to this point where it is very big. You would need to find what the source of its strength is. What exactly is making this tree grow? That is basically your why. Why is what exactly inspired the company or you, what impact you want to have, and then why do you get up every morning to do what you do? So what is that? What's that motivation that say, I have to stand up to do this thing. I have to stand up and go to this and go to my business. Why do you do that? What exactly is that? So those three questions helps you to answer or to define your why. Now let's move on to vision and mission statements. You need to have, we've talked about the why, the how, and then the what. But all of this still reflects on your the vision and mission aligns with your why, what, and how. Because you need, if you don't have a vision for whatever it is that you are doing, then there's no destination. You're just like a chicken that's just moving around. You need to have a vision. Your vision focuses on like the future aspiration. What exactly is that long-term goal of why you are doing what you are doing, right? It needs to be inspiring. It needs to also be very short. You need to be able to define your vision statement. The same thing too for your mission statement. If your vision statement is the future of where your company or your brand is going, your mission statement is what helps you to is how you go, like what exactly are you doing to be able to achieve that vision. Now look at it from this point of view. Think of vision as North Star. So vision is what is guiding whatever journey that you are doing. What a North Star basically means is you have this star that is guiding you towards the destination, just like the way the wise men, the three wise men, we are trying to find. I want to believe that most of us are Christians, so let me just use the example of the three wise men story. They are trying to find where Jesus Christ was born, and then they followed the star. So imagine that star is what is guiding you to your destination. That star is your vision. So anytime you want to go to, anytime you go to your office, anytime you are going to your business, anytime you want to do whatever it is that you are doing, you have that star that you always look at. That okay, this is what I'm doing, what I'm doing. Now, your mission is the compass that helps with the direction to get to that vision. What do I mean by compass? If you know what a compass looks like, a compass is that tool that you hold to show you, okay, you need to turn left, you need to turn right. It's like your navigation, and this, or let's say you have your own GPS map, right? You put your location where you are going to, the destination of where you are going to is Alaba Market. Alaba Market is the vision. That's your destination. The mission, how you get there, you need to make sure you put the address on your Google map and it will show you the direction. Your Google map is your mission. That is how you get to that place. Your mission is basically the compass that provides the direction to get to your vision. Now, your core values is what helps you to make sure that you are staying on the right path to get to that point. What does that mean? You are going to Alaba Market. You entered on the map, Alabama, it has shown you the direction. Your core value is what will make them let you know that, see, this is the direction you are going in. Make sure you do not go and branch make sure you don't go and branch at a friend's house in Osho State, and you say you want to sleep over, whereas you need to get to Alaba Market that same day. It does not make sense. What does that mean from a company point of view? If you say that the vision of your company as a tech company is to be the number one AI, let's say AI startup, what can I use? Okay, AI startup provider for small businesses. That is the vision for you in Africa. You want to be the company that every startup wants. You're able to try. You want to be the company that every startup would require and would be able to patronize to use AI tools. That is what you want to do. Let's just use that as a random example. How do you want to get to that point? You need to make sure that you know how to use the tools. You have knowledge about AI and all of that. Now, what is that core value that you need to put in place? Things like, one, you need to make sure that data security or security is a core thing. Integrity in the sense that people's data is secure, people's data are not tampered with. That is one of the core things that you have to put in place as your core value. Because if you are saying that you are going to be doing whatever it is that you are doing, and you do not have core values that guide those things, there will be a problem. People would not be able to trust your brand. Even the people that are working in your company as well, they would also struggle with this thing because there's nothing guiding them. They can do whatever it is that they want to do. So if your company is a bank, for example, one of the things that you need to have as a core value is integrity, because integrity is core to whatever one of the things that you to what you do. So those are things that you need to put into consideration when you are defining these things. And I have a framework that I use, like so that it will help you. I want you to just write it down as well. If you're going to define what's your mission statement, you can say, my mission is to. So you put what exactly you do, for you put who you are doing it for, and how you do it, so that then you have the impact. So my mission is to do is to create a software, or is to do this for. Then you say who you are doing it for, and then you mention how you do it, so that you can, whatever it is that the impact that you're trying to achieve is, you define that. Now, this framework is not, it doesn't have to always be like this. This just helps you as a guide to know what to say or what to write when you are creating your mission statement. And I want everyone to write that and do that. That's an assignment. I want you to make sure you have your mission statement drafted. The same thing too for your vision statement. Your vision statement should not pass 2 lines. If you don't know your why, then it's difficult for you to be able to craft a vision. So the fact that you already started that business, or whatever it is that you want a brand for, there is a goal, or there is a vision that you're trying to achieve. So write it. Let it not pass more than 1 line, maximum of 2 lines. So maybe you want to become the best musician in Africa. You want to be, just make sure that it is very specific. Let it be very, very specific. And please, when you are drafting your mission and your vision statement, be realistic with yourself. Be realistic. You can't, you want to say your vision statement is to be the only company that produces smartphone in the world. That's not a vision. That's not a feasible vision statement. You're not the only one that will be producing smartphone in the world. So you saying you want to be the company that will only be producing smartphone in the world is you deceiving yourself. So make sure that whatever it is that you're drafting as a vision statement or as a mission statement, they are feasible, practical, and also very clear. Now, core values, right? Remember I said these are guiding principles that inform how your brand operates, how it interacts with customers, and how it makes decisions. And I've given you an example of how, why you enter maybe a hotel and you notice that there's a way all of them behave, that everybody's very respectful, they're very nice, they're very intentional, they want to carry your bag. It is because these are part of what is reflected in their core values, or their brand culture, their company culture, right? So you need to have a list of core values. Maximum of, maybe you say 4 and 5. You just have 1 line, words that describe what you need to uphold. So it's just the same way we have Christian core values. As a Christian, right? We have core values. We have fruits of the spirit. We have those, that you need to have those things. In the fruit of the love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, self-control. Those are almost like what are called the core values of Christians should look like. The same thing too for your business. What exactly are the things that you need to uphold as core values? And again, there is a framework that can help you with defining your core values, right? Let your core values, if you're going to be defining that, just use this 5 C's. Look at it from like the company point of view. What does your business stand for? Does your business stand for something that is integrity is a watchword? Does your business stand for something that is reliability is a key thing? So what your business stands for is one of the things that will help you to be able to define what your core value should look like, right? So that's an internal strength, your company. Then for customers, how do you want your brand to relate to your customers? What exactly is it that your client needs the most? So look for adjectives, just words that defines this, and then make sure it aligns with what your company is about. Competition as well, what sets you apart? So you see that some companies, their core value, one of the things they will say is they are innovative, right? They are tech savvy. They are they are Gen Z, or they have a legacy moat, right? Because those are maybe their own unique selling point, their own what sets them apart. Culture, what exactly is like the behavior around the organization. So some people, one of the things that their core values would be is trust. Trust is one of their core values, and it is intentional. It is necessary to have this, because if you don't have all of these things listed out, when you are speaking to your staff or when you are training them, they need to know that these are things that they have to uphold, because it reflects who you are as a brand. If you say that your brand is your integrity is one of your core values as a brand, you cannot go out when you want to make a public press release and be lying about maybe your product or lying about something that you are putting out, because that is against what you stand for as a company. So you need to ask yourself, okay, what is that guiding belief or behavior inside the organization? And then consistency, how do you show up in terms of long-term vision? So have this thing down. I want you to write them down in your spare time. The 5 C's of your core value, like what your company stands for, what your business stands for, what your client needs the most. Look for what are the words, just look for words, adjectives that connect with it. Next part of what we're discussing is audience and market analysis. Now, I'm not going to go in depth into all of this because there is a marketing strategy that that needs to also be thought about. I think we have a speaker for that as well. I just want us to look at this empathy map and then discuss it quickly. Now, what is empathy map? Empathy map basically helps you to be able to understand your customers. You've been able to define yourself and your company, who you are, what you do, why you do what you do, your mission and vision statements, your core values. We've discussed all of that. Now, we need to now move to our clients, our customers. How do we understand them? How do we provide the solution that we say we have to these customers? And this is where this empathy map comes into play. There's one thing, one of the things that I see that that people do when they're trying to determine who their target audience is. You see things like demographics. Okay, their interests, what they like. So you see psychographics, all of these things, they use that to define their target audience. So you see things like primary target audience, secondary target audience. Those are very good, but the problem with having primary and secondary target audience and all of that structure or demographics is that it can be very limited. So let me give you a bit of context to that. Let's say I am 25 years old, right? And then I like tech products. Then there is also another person that is also 25 years old that also like tech products. But one thing that can differ from both of us is that the person that the kind of tech product that I like is probably what was this word now? I don't like minimalist tech products. I like maybe things that are more old school. I like old school tech products. Whereas the other person that is also 25 years old, is also likes tech products, likes futuristic tech products. But if you do your target audience based on people that are of this age, 25 years old, likes tech products, you think that the product you are selling would, everybody that is within that age and interest would like your product. But it's not the case. As much as, yes, you might have that demography of maybe the same age and the same interest, it might not be very specific. And this is where empathy map comes into play. What you do for this empathy map is sit down, or you and your team members, your board, the people in your company or your business. Ask yourself, what exactly does your clients or your customers, what do they feel? What do they think about regarding your business or whatever it is that you do? What do they hear? What do they see or do? What are the things that they see? And I'm going to give you an example using let's use a tech company as an example, and let's do an empathy map for that tech company, right? Or not tech company, an individual that is in the tech industry, but he works at a bank. So let's say his name is Tunde Alade. Tunde Alade is an example of our one of our customers. So let's talk about his profile. Tunde Alade is a chief digital officer at maybe a bank, right? Tunde Alade is 38 years old. What is his occupation? We mentioned it is a chief digital officer at the bank. What is the status? He's married, he has a young family, but in terms of goals, his goal is to launch new digital banking products in 6 months, automate key back office processes, attract young people. Like those are all the things that are his goals. Now you don't need to stress yourself on all this technical. Yeah, I'm just trying to use it to explain what exactly he's looking at achieving. You can draft this down for a typical customer that comes to your business. If we are to dive deeper into this world, from what I've mentioned, using that empathy map structure, what are the things, what are the kind of feeling that Tunde would feel? What are the things he thinks about? One, Tunde wants to stay ahead of all the, like every other fintech banks or businesses. They don't want to lose relevance. So that's one of the things, one of the concerns that he has while he's working. He's concerned about risk of like maybe a failed project. So if you come as a tech person and say you want to help Tunde, one of the things that he's worried about is I hope this is not going to be a failed transformation. And that thing that he's probably interested in or he likes he's excited about maybe AI stuff, automation, but he's also very careful about the hype of it. He doesn't want a situation where it would affect the company or it would just be like noise. What does Tunde see? Tunde sees competitors, like they're rolling out nice mobile apps, they're saying things that are very, very nice. Startups are eating into market shares. Tech vendors are pitching big solutions. Those are the things that he's seeing. What is he hearing from like his friends or from people? People are warning him about failed past projects that this thing, they've done it before, it did not work. Consultants, they'll be making big promises. Those are things that he's hearing. Success stories from competitors and whatnot. What is he saying that he wants to do? And what are the things that he wants to do? He's saying things like, I need execution. I don't want advice. I need this thing to come out well. I need this thing to be done. He's asking him to benchmark best in the class global bank. Let's look at the banks that are doing well. Let us benchmark them. Let's use them as standard. And then he's also constantly reporting to like his team, the board, about like key potential indicators, KPIs, based on digital products. So when you sit down and you do this, you get to understand the kind of customer that patronizes your brand. This is just one person, and this is just from one angle. Imagine you do this for five different target audience. So let's say it's, there's the supermarket example, right? And one of your target audience is a nursing mother. Do an empathy map of what a nursing mother would think and feel, say and do and hear from a supermarket point of view. So, and draft that out. You will see that when you are done with it, you will be able to identify insights and opportunities that will help your brand. You will be able to identify insights. So, based on what we just mentioned now, insights that you can see from what Tunde has talked about is trust matter to him more than just the hype. So, yeah, so you might say, okay, you can do this, you can do that. He's not looking for big promises because he has seen how that has messed up brands and whatnot. What he's looking for is a trust, a brand that will be able to deliver well. Speed is very critical for Tunde. So he needs that solution quickly because he wants to stay ahead of it. Remember, these are some of the things that we mentioned. He wants to stay ahead of fintech so that it doesn't lose relevance. So speed is critical. Proof over theory. He's not looking for they say. He's not looking for slides that you just want to present. He wants case studies. He wants to see results. He also wants the one where he's able to sell this project to his board members and he gets that validation and he feels like he is successful. Those are the insights you're able to get from Tunde. In terms of opportunities, what happens is that if you are coming as a tech person for Tunde, you can position yourself as an execution partner. You can offer quick wins. You can showcase case study. You can tailor whatever solution you have to like the KPIs that Tunde wants. what I mean by KPI is that key potential indicators, basically things things that Tunde is looking forward to achieving. How do you connect to the likes of Tunde or companies that are similar to what Tunde is looking for? LinkedIn, thought leadership articles, case studies, emails, those things are things there. Those are channels you can use. The way you speak, your tone has to be confident. You're not trying to be flashy. You are talking about the impact that you deliver. You need content hooks. Whatever it is that you are saying or writing has to be very intentional. I know this thing might sound a bit overwhelming or might sound a lot, which is why we have this session recorded so that you can go back and listen. We will still get to the point where you will see all the fancy, fine visuals, design, and all of those things. I know our time, I have less than 1 hour left, but wherever we stop, we'll continue from the next class. But I want you to take this seriously. This is what makes you intentional about your brand. It's not just about designing a flyer or designing a logo. Remember, I said those things are just artifacts. This is the core of you being intentional about your brand. And this is part of what happens within your brand strategy, or even, remember I said there's also marketing strategy. Market strategy is a completely different thing. That's how you're going to sell yourself. But you need all of this information. When you have this information, you can properly align it with other forms of strategy that you will be doing as a company. If you don't do brand strategy, if you want to do HR strategy, how would you be able to teach your colleagues at work, your staff, about your core values if you've not defined all of that? So those are things that that's why we are doing all of these things. Okay, Mr. Terry, please go on.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe you mentioned that you have 1 hour to go. We were supposed to end at. We were supposed to end at 87 to 8. Then on Thursday 7 to 8 as well.
Oh wow! I am so sorry. Okay. That's fine. I thought my time was 7 to 9. Okay. All right. That's fine. It's not an issue. We'll continue the remaining part. The remaining part is where the visuals now starts to come in, right? And let me just try to wrap up with this particular slide, which is the brand persona.
All right.
We've talked about all the theoretical aspects of the brand and defining your brand. This brand persona aspect, this is where I'm going to just talk about brand archetype and then I'll close. Brand archetype basically gives your brand a character. We talked about how the brand should be seen. How the brand should be, how to define your brand. But if you want your brand to, how your brand should be perceived, how your brand should be seen, this is where brand persona and brand personality and brand archetype comes into play. We have 12 brand archetypes. Brand archetypes is just like how you have your personality type, how you have choleric, melancholy, all of those things when you try to understand yourself. The same thing too for brands. Every brand has a particular archetype, and I will just read through what this brand archetype is, and I want you to figure out where your brand is. I will explain what they are, and I want you to figure out where your brand is. And then in the next class, we would expand more on that. So we have 12 brand archetypes: innocent, sage, explorer, outlaw, magician, hero, lover, jester, everyman, creator, ruler, and caregiver. Now, the innocent brand archetypes, they are the brands that come off as very positive, very kind, very calm, just from the word innocent. If you see their content, whatever it is that they put out, it's very innocent, just with the word innocent. If you watch Coca-Cola adverts, there's this nice happiness, calm look that it has. The same thing too with Dove. Sage, brands that fall within the sage aspect, they seek knowledge. Knowledge is one of the things that they put out, right? Knowledge is one of the things that they are very key on. Wikipedia is an example of a sage brand archetype. ChatGPT that we most likely use is a sage brand archetype. Explorer brand archetype. Explorer brands, they are the brands that like to travel the world. Just from the word explorers, they explore in whatever it is they do. They are the experience is whatever it is, one of the core things that they try to reflect on whatever it is that they are putting out. An example of an explorer brand is Red Bull. I don't know if any one of us has seen Red Bull adverts. You will see a Red Bull advert where someone is riding a bike and is riding a bike on a a a a very thin line, or the person is somersaulting over a cliff, maybe from Mount Everest. The person is jumping from there, and you're wondering what does this have to do with a drink brand, Red Bull? But that is their brand. That they come up as daring, and they're able to tie it to the brand. Outlaw, the brand's Outlaw, they are the ones that come up as very revolutionary. They are not tied to the laws of the nation. They are not scared to break the rules. They are very daring. An example of that is Harley Davidson. Magician, just from the name Magician, these are brands that they they are skilled at what they do. You don't know how they do what they do, but when you see it, it's like, wow, how did these people do this thing? An example is Disney. Disney is an example of a magician brand. Hero brands, they are brave, they are selfless. Just from the name Hero, when you use their brand, when you experience it, it makes you feel powerful, it makes you feel heroic. Nike is an example of a hero brand. When you see a brand, and when you wear a Nike sneakers, or when you see an example of a Nike advert, whether the person is disabled, whatever challenge the person is going through, they make every person look like a hero, like a hero. That is one of the things that comes up with their brand. The same thing too with Airtel. No matter how dirty your white is, they tell you that don't worry, we've got you covered. That is an hero brand. A lover brand, just like the name Lover, they spend their time daydreaming. Is more from a feminine point of view. Chanel is an example of a lover brand. Jester, just from the word jester. Jester, they are very very funny, very silly in the way they express themselves. In terms of their brand, you see their adverts is very funny. An example of a person that you can that I probably consider a jester brand is maybe Lai Wasabi, or some of these comedians. Their brands come up as jester brand. Every man, just from the word every man brand, they sell to everybody, or they're not strict to a specific person. A brand, Ebano restaurant is Ebano supermarket is an example of an everyman brand. IKEA is an example of an everyman brand. Creator brands are brands that, just from the word creators, they build new things. They are very they are innovative in nature. They are non-conforming. An example is the Lego brand, Adobe. Those are examples of like a creator brand. Then you have Ruler. Just from the word ruler, they are not competing with anybody, but these are the bosses in their own space. You have the likes of Mercedes, Rolls Royce, all those brands. Those are, you don't even see the adverts on TV. They know how to get their customers. Their customers know how to reach them. They are not competing with anybody. Then you now have the last one, which is the caregiver. Right? The caregivers are very empathetic. They are like the mothers, the likes of UNICEF. They want to take care of people. Now you need to know where your brand falls in. One rule of thumb is you don't have to stick to one brand archetype. You can have 2 or 3, but make sure you know the one that is very dominant. And the reason behind having this brand archetype is it reflects in how you communicate, whatever it is that you are saying, whatever design that you're putting out, whatever visual, whatever it is, it reflects in your brand archetype. Is one of the things that will help you reflect it. So I want you to figure out which brand archetype you want your brand to be. You can have it in ratio. So you can say the highest should be maybe Hero. Hero is 50%, Lover is 20%, and the Creator is 10%, depending on how you want your brand to be perceived. And this is where I will draw the curtain. We'll continue on the next one in the next class. Thank you very much, and I'm open to questions. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm seeing a question.
Yes, so
Okay.
we have a question there. I think one of the questions, the person is intrigued by your presentation. and was asking how did you make them. I guess if you want to answer, that's fine. Then the second question is, do you have any assignment for them today? If or you want to wait till the next class, after you're like you run through everything before you give an assignment. How do you want to go?
Oh, we have an assignment. We have assignment. The
All
assignment
right.
is I want everyone to, based on the frameworks, define list your vision, mission, core values, and so okay, let me just I'll write that on the chat. On the chat, I can also send that to the group. I'll send it through the facilitator as well. But I will need it before the next class. All that we've mentioned, which is you defining your mission statement, your vision, your core values, using the frameworks, and then I want you to also do an empathy map for at least one of your customer or one of your clients. So that's going to be the assignment for this class. I don't know if that has answered the question. And in respect to
Yes, that has answered it, but we would like that you drop it on. Just send it to me so that I'll put it on our
yeah,
group. I think
I
you're
will
in
share
that group.
that.
Maybe yes, so that we can just drop it there, guys. It will require you guys rewatching this, so that you have an idea what some of the things is requesting. Now, these are important for your businesses. If you want your business to be global, to be big, to be known, to appeal to your customers, the customer segment we've identified in BMC, right? If you want all of that to apply, these are the ways for them to apply. All right. Okay. So, and then I'm not going to take any physical questions, like any audio questions. Everything uh should be sent via the chat. All right. All right. All right. Okay. Yes, Dr. Wolabi, yes, to be sent to the chat. The first question, Gideon, he said you should answer his first
Yeah.
question. How did you design? How did you?
Oh, isn't that? I think that's obvious already. First of all, I'm a designer. By this
Exactly.
designer, so yeah, that's. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yes.
Then
That's it.
part of what I would also show you how like to just at least based on some tools that is easy to access. The next course would help with knowing how to design at least to an extent like this, colors to
Yeah.
use. That's what we're going to talk about, what they mean, and
Okay.
how to use fonts. We'll have that discussion in the next session.
Excellent.
But we need to understand all this one that I just did before we go to that point. Most times people start with design first before branding, which shouldn't be the case. So I don't know if I've answered your question, Dr. Samuel Olabi.
Yes, he confirmed that you've answered. Thank you very much. So, guys, you cannot afford to miss the next class, because there, we're going to look at your work, and then he's going to talk about how to choose the right colors for your brand, the right fonts, what to do so that your brand comes alive. The same way, once you see Coca-Cola, there's just a feeling, that's the same way. The same reason that people think iPhone is better than other types of iPhone. Than other types of phones. There's a reason, because of the brand, the brand identity. That's what he's saying. So if you want to do your business, how are you going to stand out? How are you going to be different from any other person that's doing it? And how will your customers connect with you? That's what he's saying. So guys, don't miss out. Don't miss out our next class at all. I don't think there are any other questions. We are full of gratitude, Gideon. I learned a lot today. And God bless you. Next week, Thursday, same time, 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, we are going to wrap up this session. Thank you very much, Mr. Gideon. And thank you everyone that joined the class. Guys, let's put our hands together. Let's use the emojis to put our hands together, for Mr. Gideon. Like, we enjoyed the class. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. Even my son is here clapping, for Gideon. Thank you very much. Thank you, Adrian. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We're going to put the assignment on the WhatsApp group. So anyone that, if you are not on the WhatsApp group, join ASAP. Join ASAP. All right. God bless you and enjoy the rest of your evening. All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Bye. Good evening and bye. Good night. Good night. Good night. Bye.